The King's Avatar, Chapter 1425 Time Difference. Audio source, wusharworldaudiobook.com. Chapter 1425, Time Difference. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Beautiful. Pan Lin shouted. Burst grenade was undoubtedly a tool to forcefully break encirclements. Blue Rain had intended on using this skill to do so, but before they could act, Happy threw out their own burst grenade. Lord Grimm's myriad manifestations umbrella only had one gunner form, and in this match, it had been shown that laser beam had been added on as the bonus skill. It was not possible for him to have access to any other high-leveled gunner skill. This burst grenade must have come from Dancing Rain's devouring sun. This grenade successfully invaded Blue Rain's space and exploded. Everyone thought Blue Rain's control over the situation had been destroyed, and Happy would be able to rescue their healer. However, in that instant, Huang Shaoshan was able to complete an Immortal Guides the Way and borrow the blow-away effect of the skill to send Little Cold Hands flying. This move was like a gift from the heavens. The fans of Team Blue Rain had experienced several ups and downs in just a split second. Just as they thought that they had lost, Huang Shaoshan pulled them back. Lu Hanwen was careful. He didn't dare waste Huang Shaoshan's save. The airborne flowing cloud swung his greatsword towards Little Cold Hands. On the other end, Zheng Xuan's bullet rain fired a stun bullet and an ice bullet towards this side while in the air. They would not let Little Cold Hands escape so easily. The knockback from a level 1 burst grenade was limited. Compared to the burst grenade from Zheng Xuan's bullet rain, the sand and dust lifted from the explosion only covered a small area. Blue Rain's unity of will was an impregnable stronghold, forcefully keeping the situation under control. Lu Hanwen's flowing cloud stuck close to Little Cold Hands, and Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain immediately dashed over as soon as he landed back onto the ground. But inside this small-scale cloud of dust, Huang Shaoshan noticed a bright flame swaying down. Fuck. Huang Shaoshan immediately realized what it was. Heat-seeking missile. This skill possessed both a large AoE and strong knockback. It had to be blocked no matter what. But was there enough time? Troubling Rain swung his sword with a sword draw, the sword light splitting the yellow sand in half. But it wasn't enough. It was just off by a bit, but the sword light wasn't able to reach the heat-seeking missile's signal in time. It's over. Huang Shaoshan felt helpless. This time, there was nothing he could do. But the instant his sword light missed, a black light suddenly flew out. With a shua, the signal was cut out of the air. Soul Slice. Huang Shaoshan was delighted. He turned his head and saw Yu Wenzu's Swaxar. Swaxar had sent out a precise attack at a crucial moment, bringing Blue Rain back once again. Steady. Yu Wenzu reminded everyone in the chat. The signal, knocked away by the Soul Slice, did not land in Team Blue Rain's space, but the heat-seeking missile that followed soon afterwards dropped down in a column of flames. An enormous explosion erupted, sending yellow sand everywhere like a volcano. The sand flew into the air and then dropped down like heavy rain. Blue Rain felt a lingering fear seeing this scene. This attack was far more terrifying than burst grenade. Bang 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 bang. Amidst the turbid cloud of yellow sand, sounds of gunfire could be heard. Several black shadows dropped down towards where Blue Rain had trapped Little Cold Hands. FIM-92 Stinger. Using the yellow sand as cover, the Stinger had burst apart into multiple missiles before falling down. With the number of missiles there, Blue Rain could not deal with them one by one. Their only choice was to do their best and avoid them. But right at this moment, and when Yi's Little Cold Hands had struggled out and was heading towards the center of Stinger's AoE, seeing that there was no hopes of him being rescued, and Wen Yi decided that he would drag him down and make both sides suffer. But what could Blue Rain do? If they didn't give chase, and Wen Yi might actually be able to escape. Fortunately, Stinger didn't have a strong knockback like the previous two skills. It wouldn't be able to break apart the situation, but it would still deal some damage. In this final exchange, Happy had the upper hand. They were fully utilizing their home game advantage. Taking advantage of the yellow sand as cover, Happy was able to sneak an attack after attack. Blue Rain had just narrowly escaped twice, but there was nothing they could do about the final stinger. Happy wasn't done yet with their harassment. After the stinger and yellow sand baptism, a crack suddenly appeared in the air. With a rumbling sound, a death's door opened wide. Everyone in Blue Rain went white. Wei Chen was no longer there, which meant only Lord Grimm could have used this skill. A level 1 death's door had lower range and dealt less damage. Even so, its main threat laid in its ability to disrupt the situation. As a result, quite a few warlocks wouldn't bother leveling Death's Door too much. A few points in it was good enough. A level 1 Death's Door had a short range, but Yi Xiu had timed it perfectly. And when Yi seemed to have received a signal, his little cold hands was running for his life towards there. It looked as if he wanted to jump through the door. Go away. Immortal guides the way. Huang Shaoshan shouted. This time, it was Lu Hanwen that used the skill, forcefully blowing little cold hands away. Blue Rain gave chase as the black tendrils from Death's Door reached out for them. Luckily, it's only level 1. After escaping from Death's Door's range, Blue Rain felt incredibly relieved. But soon afterwards, the worst thing that could happen happened. Happy's 3 attackers were rushing over. Behind them was the corpse of Blue Rain's healer, Soul Speaker. In the end, Happy was able to eliminate Blue Rain's healer first, while Little Cold Hands still had 5% of his health left. The harassment from Happy had completely disrupted Blue Rain's attacks. However, one combo was enough to take out 5%. Blue Rain's 4 characters quickly chased after Little Cold Hands, ready to kill him regardless of anything else. An attack fell. A holy light suddenly surrounded Little Cold Hands. Holy Cure. A powerful instant heal. It had a very long cooldown, and Little Cold Hands had already used it not too long ago, so it couldn't have been ready yet. It was undoubtedly another annoyance by Lord Grimm. This time, he had added a heal to his Myriad Manifestations umbrella. It was only level 1, but it could not be ignored. Boom. Lord Grimm was healing, but Dancing Rain and Boundless Sea were attacking. Launchers and Chi Masters did not lack AoE, and the AoEs were coming. Yu Wenzu and Zheng Xuan were fine. As long-ranged classes, they didn't need to stick close to Little Cold Hands. But Huang Shaoshan and Lu Hanwen need to stay close to Little Cold Hands to do anything. Su Mucheng and Fang Rui knew this and took advantage of it, forcing the two to take damage. Even so, Little Cold Hands didn't have much health left. Yi Xiu's heal wasn't enough for one combo from Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain. All it did was delay the inevitable. Finally, Little Cold Hands fell, and Blue Rain's players let out a sigh of relief. 4v3 without healers. WuxaWorldAudio.com. It looked to be time for Blue Rain to launch a counter-attack, but Qiao Yifin's 1-inch ash had quietly appeared from behind Blue Rain. With a chant, a ghost boundary was laid down, and without any pause or hesitation, 1-inch ash was like a phantom demon as he ferociously tore into Blue Rain. Yi Xiu, Fang Rui, and Su Mucheng immediately followed suit. 4v3. The 4v3 never happened. What perfect timing! Pan Lin exclaimed. Li Yibo was silent. Was it really a coincidence? Li Yibo was hesitant, but Yu Wenzu was certain that it was. This was Happy's map. They had a clear understanding of the distance between this location and the support zone. They knew exactly how long it would take to complete a character trade, or for the sixth player to sub in after a death. It was a difference in timing. By the time Happy's sixth player arrived, Blue Rain's sixth player would have only just started. Blue Rain may have the numbers advantage, but if one of their characters wasn't there yet, the advantage was negated until he arrived. 4v4. It was a 4v4. And Happy had a fierce warrior in their midst. He seemed to have no regard for his own character's health. He rushed straight into the enemy lines and cut off Blue Rain's retreat. Then, a pincer, Yishu, Sumucheng, and Fang Rui fought crazily too, completely disregarding their own characters, trading blow for blow. Blue Rain didn't want this sort of fight, but Happy had cut off their retreat and then focused them, giving Blue Rain no chance to maneuver around. If I'm going to die, then you might as well die with me. Steady. We can't. Defending required a healer to rely upon. If not, if one player met the focus of four enemies, run. Block. None of those could completely deal with the situation. To do so required support from other players, which was the current situation. Blue Rain was now deeply entangled with Happy. If this continued, Happy might not have the upper hand though. A team competition wasn't like an individual competition, where whoever was attacking had the upper hand. In 4v4s, who was attacking and who was defending constantly fluctuated. Right now, it was a chaotic mess. No one was able to easily escape. But Happy had nothing after this, while Blue Rain had their sixth player coming. Happy had the step up the entire time, but was this going to be the end result? Both sides were suffering, but once Blue Rain's sixth player came, it would be a 5v4. He would just need to wave his hands, and wouldn't this match be over? No, this wasn't the case. At the final moment, Yu Wenzu finally understood. Happy's plan for the team competition relied on the 2-point advantage from the group arena. End chapter. The King's Avatar. Chapter 1426. Giving out candy. Audio source. WuShaWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1426. Giving out candy. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Yu Wenzu didn't neglect their loss in group arena. It was just that from the start, Happy's arrangements never seemed to take advantage of this point. Even now, Yu Wenzu wasn't sure whether Happy had planned this from the beginning, or if it had been an adjustment based on the flow the team competition. Throughout the course of team competition, he had been trying to guess what Happy's goals were, but whenever he made a realization, he was always a half beat too slow. This delay was fatal for him and Blue Rain. Blue Rain played reactively. A reactive playstyle required one to pinpoint the opponent's lifeline and then target it. It was through this style that Yu Wenzu became a master tactician. He reacted quickly and thought through issues meticulously, allowing him to swiftly read the situation. Then, he would grasp the opponent's goals and search out a way to destroy the opponent's strategy. However, Happy had carefully concealed their goals from the start. For a period of time, Blue Rain didn't even have knowledge of Happy's team composition. Huang Shaoshan had been sent out to investigate, but he ended up trapped by Happy. The rest of Team Blue Rain was forced to be drawn out. This was their first mistake. However, Blue Rain had no choice but to make the mistake. At the time, the enemy plans weren't clear, and Yu Wenzu had no plans to launch a counterattack. As a result, Blue Rain prepared to rescue Huang Shaoshan and would make adjustments after doing so. But then, Happy started giving out candy. Wei Chen went in for a 1v2. This sort of ace-player reliance strategy was commonly used to create a balance on the ace player's end, while the other side of the battle established a numbers advantage. However, in this match Wei Chen was at an absolute disadvantage in the 1v2, while the other side of the battle was still just a 3v3. Moreover, for Happy, it was a 3v3 without a healer. Happy was at a disadvantage in both sides of the battle. If Blue Rain couldn't grasp this opportunity, they would not be Blue Rain. Wei Chen's tenacity was unexpected though. He had successfully stalled two players, causing Blue Rain's healer to overuse his mana to support Blue Rain's offense. In the end, Wei Chen's Windward formation died. From this point, Blue Rain seemed to have grasped onto another opportunity, happily garnering a numbers advantage. They had also used this advantage. When Happy started relying on their healer in the 4v5, Blue Rain decisively targeted Happy's healer. At this moment, Happy gave Blue Rain another piece of candy. They actually abandoned their main pillar of support in the 4v5, their healer. Happy made a trade with Blue Rain. Both healers ended up as sacrifices. Although Happy had taken out Blue Rain's healer first, making it more difficult for Blue Rain to finish off their healer, no one would say that Happy had the upper hand. Up until Qiao Yifan's 1-inch ash arrived at the perfect time. It was beautiful usage of the difference in distance between the two teams' support zones. Blue Rain had less health overall too. If that was all, Happy still wouldn't have the advantage. However, once their group arena 2-point lead was taken into account, everything made sense. Why did Happy work so hard to establish an advantage for their healer and then abandon it all so quickly? Because their advantage didn't come from having more mana or having more players on their side. Yu Wenzu understood everything now. Happy didn't want a direct confrontation, especially a 5v5 battle. The reason? Just like many of their matches in the regular season, they protected their healer. Yes, abandoning their healer was a form of protection. And Wen Yi may have improved considerably, and his character may have been built just for him, but his capabilities still couldn't match the capabilities of the healers from powerhouse teams. The more complex the battle, the more unfavorable it was for Wen Yi and Team Happy. As a result, they simply avoided it. They had no intentions of relying on their healer to win because their healer had never been their strength. They utilized this so-called advantage, constructing their plans around it. All of these plans came together to take advantage of their true strengths. No healer. Team Happy, Yishu, Su Mucheng, Fang Rui, Qiao Yifan. Team Blue Rain, Yu Wenzu, Huang Shaoshan, Lu Hanwen, Zheng Xuan. From the names, Happy's player roster stood shoulder to shoulder with Blue Rain's. As for characters, Lord Grimm's class itself was an advantage, let alone his full set of level 80 silver equipment. Dancing Rain and Boundless Sea were all-star characters. Their foundation was there. In terms of upgrading level 70 silver equipment to level 75, the powerhouse teams were no better than Happy. Happy took an even higher-end route. The amount of level 75 materials in their possession was no fewer than the amount of level 75 materials that the other teams had. In addition, these two also had level 80 silver equipment. Blue Rain's biggest advantage was their extra player. But Song Xiao's receding tides was still heading over, so this advantage didn't exist right now. Hurry! Hurry! The cameraman would focus on receding tides from time to time. He wasn't in the fight at the moment, but everyone knew that he was this match's deciding factor, especially for Blue Rain. Blue Rain was trying to stall until Song Xiao arrived. But Happy understood their intentions. Happy wasn't going to play tactics with them. Their only goal was to attack regardless of anything else. Holy light would flash from time to time in this chaotic battle. Yishu was still having his Lord Grim heal. But in this battle without healers, his bit of healing became all the more precious. It was especially loathsome to Blue Rain. The health on both sides could be depicted as downward slopes. Who would be the first to fall? Seeing where receding tides was located, everyone was certain of this point. Before he arrived, someone would certainly die. But who? From the removing health on each character, Huang Shaoshan's Troubling Rain had the lowest. Ever since he started his investigation at the beginning of the match, Huang Shaoshan had never rested. He had constantly been in high-intensity fights. His Troubling Rain's health had never gone up. When Soul Speaker died, he had the lowest health on the team. And he was someone who needed to fight in close range, which naturally made him a target for Happy. No way to retreat. If Blue Rain could retreat, they would have certainly done so. Then, they would convene with Song Xiao. But Happy bit at them too tightly. If they tried to force a retreat and let Happy chase, they would only lose health needlessly. If things went poorly, their corpses might all that be left. All they could do was try to move the battle towards Song Xiao. Persist. Everyone understood. They grit their teeth and bore the pain. The countless people in the crowd stood up anxiously. Happy looked to have the advantage in health, but it wasn't to the point of having no worries. A single mistake could turn everything around. Come on. None of the players on either team could sit still as they stood up and stared at the match screen. Troubling Rain, 6%. Who would be the first to fall? Huang Shaoshan had pulled off several miracles this round. Could we see another one with just 6% of his health left? No one regarded Huang Shaoshan as a dead man. As long as he stood on the field, he would always be the greatest threat. Sword's Divine Judgment. Troubling Rain suddenly activated his awakening skill. Huang Shaoshan had waited a long time before using this skill. It was a skill that could open up the current situation. As long as there was an opportunity, Blue Rain would still choose to retreat to get closer to Song Xiao. But Qi Guard. Fang Rui's Boundless Sea raised both arms, forming a Qi Guard, shielding Lord Grim, Boundless Sea, and 1-inch Ash all at once. Sumo Chung's Dancing Rain was outside of the attack's range and wouldn't be affected by the wave of Sword Qi. Yishu's Lord Grim took advantage of the Qi Guard to complete a cast. Devil World Flower. A summoner skill was used, a level 1 Devil World Flower. It had low health and light attacks, but its functionality was comprehensive. WuxaWorldAudio.com. Zheng Xuan's Bullet Rain immediately fired a blazing bullet. Lord Grim's Myriad Manifestations umbrella suddenly opened. Bang! The flames spread out from the impact between Blazing Bullet and the Myriad Manifestations umbrella. The Devil World Flower was unaffected, its vines extending out. Blue Rain was annoyed. It was such a critical moment, and now they had another target to worry about. Huang Shaoshan's Troubling Rain leaped into the air, dodging the curling vines. His sword fell. With the buff from Sword's Divine Judgment, the swing was faster and more ferocious. Before he even landed, the Devil World Flower was cut into pieces. But Yishu's Lord Grim was waiting for him. Circle Swing. The Myriad Manifestations umbrella transformed into a spear and struck towards the sky. Troubling Rain hastily swung his sword to try and block it, but he was too late. The spear stabbed into Troubling Rain and instantly flung him down. Blue Rain's other team members immediately tried to save him, but Troubling Rain only had so much health left. How could Happy let him go? Kill. Troubling Rain became the first to fall. Happy's fans cheered, while Blue Rain's fans grit their teeth. Sigh. What a pity. Pan Lin sighed. He had high hopes for Huang Shaoshan. He had expected him to perform one final explosive display, but in the end, all he ended up doing was trading his life for a Devil World flower. From the numbers, Huang Shaoshan's hand speed seemed to have fallen. Li Yibo looked at player hand speed stats and said, He was in a very tense situation throughout the entire match. Li Yibo said. Pan Lin let out a sigh. Although it was somewhat unfortunate, no one was a machine. Huang Shaoshan hadn't had a single moment of rest. He had exhausted the most energy out of anyone else in the match. But Blue Rain seized this opportunity and took out quite a bit of Boundless Sea's health. Li Yibo said. Boundless Sea still has 11% health left. Happy has the 4v3 for a short period of time. Boundless Sea doesn't care about himself at all. Happy's focusing on Flowing Cloud, Pan Lin said. End chapter. The King's Avatar. Chapter 1427 Countdown. Audio source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 1427 Countdown. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Dazzling light engulfed the battlefield, but soon afterwards, a shadow flashed out. Lord Grim. Target, Bullet Rain. A change in target? Pan Lin asked. No, it's over. Li Yibo could see it clearer. Under the intensive focus fire from the enemies, a character without a retreat path and a healer had no way to survive too long. Life and death was only a matter of seconds. Fan Rui's Boundless Sea became the next player after Troubling Rain to depart from the battlefield. But Flowing Cloud was also on the verge of death. Yi Zhu didn't bother with this final blow, instead rushing out into the yellow sand towards Bullet Rain. Zheng Xuan's Bullet Rain and Yu Wenzu's Swaxar were long-ranged. Stalling for time was much easier for them. Team Blue Rain clearly planned on taking advantage of this point. After Troubling Rain and Flowing Cloud fell, the two had no reason to continue fighting. With a turn, they went to convene with Song Xiao. But Yi Zhu's pursuit was extremely fast. He had predicted AEAD of time that the two would have an easier time running away once their close-ranged allies fell, so he chased after them before the time came. In the blink of an eye, a considerable distance between the two sides was erased. Zheng Xuan knew he had no chances of winning a foot race against Yi Zhu. His only choice was to kite. Bullet Rain fired a flash bullet, but Lord Grim responded with an open of his umbrella and dashed forward with a charge. Neither his movement speed nor his eyesight was affected. Zheng Xuan wanted to cry. That bastard was too annoying. He always made people feel helpless. Boom boom boom, Bullet Rain fired all sorts of bullets. At this point, conserving his mana was pointless. The final outcome would be decided here. Yi Zhu's Lord Grim was more of a close-ranged fighter. After Troubling Rain, Boundless Sea, and Flowing Cloud fell, he had the lowest amount of health. 19%. Fuck 20%. Lord Grim healed himself. With a blink, his health jumped to 20%. So fucking annoying. For someone like Zheng Xuan who had no fighting spirit, this was no better than torture. After Boundless Sea, Flowing Cloud finally fell at the hands of Qiao Yifin's 1-inch ash. He and Su Mucheng did not immediately follow Yi Zhu's Lord Grim. Dancing Rain instead fired at Yu Wenzu's Swaxar. In reality, Su Mucheng had paid particularly close attention to Yu Wenzu. A warlock's set of skills such as Chaotic Rain, Death's Door, Hexagram Prison, Binding Curse were all control skills that could bring about destruction to this delicate situation. Su Mucheng gave up on a few opportunities to deal damage so that she could keep Yu Wenzu's Swaxar under control. Yu Wenzu played intelligently too. Even if he could not find opportunities to use these disruptive skills, he used his very existence to attract a considerable amount of attention from Happy. Were it not for the threat of a warlock's control skills, the pace of the battle would have gone much faster. Right now, Sumuchung was entirely focused on Swaksar. Qiao Yifan's 1-inch ash also rushed towards him. In this 3v2, Happy no longer focused on a single target, instead splitting up. But there's not enough time, is there? The long-ranged characters had started this battle with relatively more health than the close-ranged characters, and Song Sio's receding tides was nearly there. The broadcast even put down a countdown to his arrival. 20 seconds. Blue Rain still had almost half their health left. It didn't seem possible to kill them all in this amount of time. There were less players on both sides, so their overall damage output was lower than before. 19, 18, 17. The countdown continued to tick. It no longer seemed possible to kill either of the two Blue Rain members at this point. What mattered now was how much health they would have left by the time receding tides arrived. If they only had a sliver of health, Happy could just ignore receding tides and finish off Bullet Rain and Swaksar for the win. 16, 15, 14. Yishu's Lord Grim finally caught up to Bullet Rain, dodging the two attacks towards him. He grabbed Bullet Rain with a fling. Throw. The landing point was 1-inch Ash's double overlapping ghost boundaries. Weakened, frozen, Bullet Rain received 2 negative status effects as soon as he landed. Soon afterwards, a third ghost boundary appeared, blind. Bullet Rain was in trouble. Everyone could see it. The Happy fans cheered excitedly. Yishu's Lord Grim dashed towards Bullet Rain. As he moved, his myriad manifestations umbrella fired towards Yu Wenzu, forming a pincer with Sumuchung. They were originally best partners with a spear and cannon combo, but their dual-gun synergy was no worse. The attacks from both sides multiplied the pressure on Yu Wenzu. Bang! Swaksar was hit by Lord Grim's stun bullet. Sumuchung's dancing rain completed a movement at just the right time. Electricity crackled into a ball and shot out. The X1 extruder sucked in Swaksar towards 1-inch Ash's ghost boundary. 10, 9, 8, 7. Only 10 seconds were left. Qiao Yifan's 1-inch Ash was struggling to keep Bullet Rain locked into the formation. Fortunately, Yishu's Lord Grim arrived just in time to give him a helping hand. 6, 5, 4, 3. Song Sio's receding tides could already be seen, his figure getting closer and closer. There was no need to count down to 0. Receding tides was a Chi Master, and Chi Masters didn't need to get close to attack. Sky-piercing strike. Receding tides sent out an attack. Rippling chi fired from his two palms, lifting up yellow sand into the air. Like a yellow dragon, it crashed into the battlefield. The characters in Happy within its attack range hastily moved aside, but at this moment, Qiao Yifan's 1-inch Ash burst apart his ghost boundaries. Ghost Feast. The power of the ghost gods were like demonic shadows. Along with the yellow sand scattered by the sky-piercing strike and the desolate atmosphere of the ancient ruins, a sense of eeriness could be felt. Ghost Feast dealt enormous damage, but because of the limited amount of time Qiao Yifan had, there weren't a lot of ghost boundaries placed down yet. Song Sio's receding tides invaded like a storm. At full health, he didn't care about what damage he took. He could quickly break open the situation through force. As a result, Qiao Yifan didn't dare delay and immediately used the skill while he still had the chance. Boom. Dancing Rain started aiming at receding tides, but Song Sio ignored the damage and continued his charge forward. His character leaped into the air, landmine quake. Another AoE rumbled over. Yellow sand rose again. Void Sansi had no wind, but the skills from the characters lifted up the sand like a strong storm. Everything always seemed to be wrapped up in sand. Kill. Happy did not choose to retreat. They surrounded Swaxar and Bullet Rain and attacked ferociously. The landmine quake knocked Lord Grim into the air, but with a quick recover, Lord Grim immediately got up and continued attacking. Lord Grim's health, 6%. The hearts of Happy's fans tightened. Yishu's Lord Grim was extremely important. The stickiness of melee characters were a characteristic that long-range classes could not replace. Qiao Yifan's 1-inch Ash was a phantom demon and didn't count as a true melee class. If Yishu's Lord Grim fell, Blue Rain would have 3 mid to long-range classes. Blue Rain could just pull apart, and Sumo Chung and Qiao Yivan would have a difficult time grabbing onto them. Blue Rain understood this point. Whenever they had a chance, they would focus on Lord Grim. 6% health. A single combo from any of them would be enough to send him off. Spiral Chi Kill. Claw of Darkness. Electric Grenade. Blue Rain's 3 players launched attacks towards Lord Grim from 3 angles. But all of them missed. Lord Grim was like a demon. He switched between several movement skills, switching directions 3 times within a small gap. All 3 skills hit nothing but air. Then, he turned around and counterattacked. Everyone in the stadium went crazy. What was a god? What was a core player? This was the embodiment of one. WushOurWorldAudio.com. Had there been an opening in Blue Rain's attacks? There didn't seem to be one, but through extraordinary intuition and control, he dodged a series of attacks that shouldn't be able to be dodged. Yu Wenzu and Zheng Xuan wanted to pull away, but Lord Grim was right beside them. They had no way of escaping. 1-inch Ash's ghost boundary fell again. Not only did their attacks fail to land on Lord Grim, they gave 1-inch Ash an opportunity to cast a ghost boundary. This was the value behind a top player. The openings that they could create weren't ones just anyone could achieve. Ghost fire blazed inside the flame boundary as if trying to refine Swaxar and Bullet Rain. Sumo Chung's dancing rain provided assistance with her artillery fire. Song Xiao was in a difficult situation. He was the healthy general leading the charge, yet he still hadn't broken open the situation. He was also extremely nervous. Lord Grim was key. Only 6% health left. A flash burst or a Qigong blast was enough. Focusing on a single target was to prevent any mistakes. However, their attempt to prevent mistakes backfired. Lord Grim slipped out, and Happy was able to latch onto Blue Rain's 2 long-range classes. Flash burst. Song Xiao didn't think too much. Even if he couldn't kill Lord Grim, he had to at least force him away. That would give his 2 allies some space to maneuver. Receding Tides threw everything aside and stepped into 1-inch Ash's flame boundary. He took the damage from Ghost Fire and fired an attack at Lord Grim. Lord Grim dodged to the side. Yu Wenzu and Zheng Xuan seized this opportunity and pulled apart, one to the left, the other to the right. But Lord Grim waved his sleeves. Shadow Cloak. Swaxar and Bullet Rain was suddenly grabbed back. However, Chi burst. Receding Tides followed up with another attack, seizing the opening that appeared when Lord Grim used his skill. Lord Grim's health instantly turned to 0, but then, a satellite beam descended. Lord Grim's final move had bound Swaxar and Bullet Rain together. This satellite beam had hit both characters. Is it over? Amidst the Xing light, the health on both characters rapidly fell, stopping at single-digit percentages. Qiao Yifan's 1-inch Ash sent out several slashes, successfully killing Swaxar. Although he wasn't able to take down Receding Tides, at this point, victory was already theirs. With the little health Zheng Xuan's Bullet Rain had left, Happy's remaining 2 characters ignored Song Xiao and finished him off. No matter how much damage they took, they didn't care. Song Seo could be completely disregarded. It didn't matter how perfect of a condition Receding Tides was in. End chapter.